Blast me to Electia! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 54, Part 1, Lore and Build Guide. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So today we are returning to our Battle Sisters and we get our final frame for the units we are getting. So we'll have a quick look at those up close in a minute. We got like that much, maybe that much lore to go through, so not a lot today. I'll have a look at the in-depth build guide and we'll even show off the stratagems ahead of our mission, which will be on Friday's video. I should be back Wednesday with a quick paint tutorial that will help you paint the faces a little bit better than they show in here. Again, we'll go through that now just quickly. But things will be definitely done a little different. So let's go to the vertical camera. Oh, it's not really a different camera. It is the same camera, just repositioned. But let's go top side and we'll have a look at our new models and our new magazine. Excuse me, I had a little bit of a tickle in my throat. But here we are with our miniatures. So we get yet another set of flying stands. They've given us 3 sets of these now, and really 2 would have done all the seraphim we have in the collection. So the spares, I don't know whether they're not going to give us any when it comes to the Space Marines that are on flying stands. I have no idea, but we got all these spare now. We also get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 32mm bases, and these are for our Battle Sisters. 1 28mm base for our sister Repentia, and of course the 25mm base for the Arco-Flagellant. And so the frame we have here is the same frame we got in issue 46. It is exactly the same. So we make all the same models, but this time around we will be using the bare head options instead of the helmeted heads. But you are free to use whichever ones you like. So all these models are pretty much monopose, very little in the way of variety for components. The only optional extras, like I said, are the heads, and we got a few pistol pouches, mainly for the 2 sisters that don't have the pistol pouches already sculpted on them. Actually, no, we've got 2 that already have, so there's only 1 that needs it. Unless you want to give 1 to a Seraphim, perhaps, I don't know. But you can easily scatter them across your various other battle system models. I stuck one on a Repentia Superior, so that it shows that she has the option of taking a bolt pistol. But I will show you a few little tips and tricks that I have learned using components from the Battle Sister kit. But here we have our models. So we've got our Repentia there. We only have the 1 set of arms for her. 2 heads though. I am planning on investing in the multi-part Repentia and Arco-Flagellant kits, because each of those come with 2 options per different body, including 2 options of left and right arms and 2 options of heads. So that'll give me hopefully a little bit more variety that should be able to go on with very little in the way of modification. Moving down the frame, we've got 2 of our Battle Sisters here, the one leaning back and firing, and 1 charging forward. Then onto the second half of the frame, we got our 2 Seraphim, and we got our 3rd and final Battle Sister at the very bottom there. Just like the other ones, each of these have specific components to go together, with matching icons on the backpacks and the bolt guns. You can, of course, though, swap between the 2 different models, swap between all the different models, as the fitting is the same over all of them. Same with Seraphim, you can swap the jump packs over so that each one has a different icon on, but they are paired up with the bolt pistols that have a skull on one and the Ecclesiarchy eye on the other. But there's the other side of the frame, so this is the underside, pretty much all the bits that we glued together. Then we have a good look though at those head sculpts. There's 1, 2. There's one of the seraphims. And there's the other heads there. I really do like that seraphim head there. That's quite nice. It'll be good for an action pose model, I think. So, moving on to our magazine. So, here we have issue 54. So, we get 7 models, which you've just looked at. So, there is the Adepta Sororitas reinforcements. We get an updated paint guide for them. And we have stratagems for the Adepta Sororitas miniatures. And like I said, there is not a lot in this issue. So we have new background in the form of injuries and grudges for our battle sisters, our build guide, our updated paint guide, which takes up the majority of the magazine. We have our stratagems, and we have a War of Faith. So we're finally using all the sisters' stuff in a single mission against a Necron force. So, the Adepta Sororitas Injuries and Grudges. During the course of their Wars of Faith, the Battle Sisters of the Adepta Sororitas endure suffering both physical and psychological. Many sisters display the scars of previous conflicts with pride, and hold a burning desire for vengeance against the foe that inflicted them. Much like with the Space Marines and Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons, these are a set of tables that we can add a little bit more flair to our character models. So, for instance, we roll a D33, and if we got an 11, we got eyes gouged out by, and then say we got a 23, a Canoptek Reanimator. Oof, that'd be pretty big eye gouges. Gouged eyes, ooh, not worth thinking about. So, yeah. And on the other side, we've got, again, that lovely artwork there. And this side, we've got the Sisters Novitiates there, which came out in the Kill Team Kalnath box. That's pretty cool. So we've got injuries for our heroes here. This is a D33 table. So, again, you roll and record what it was by. Excuse me again. And then we've got injuries and losses for our squads. So, certain members of the squad that can have additional details filled out, we can easily add some extra little bits of lore, background to those models and characters. But that is literally it for all our lore. So, not a lot of lore. I'm hoping that we will get another lore-heavy issue like we had in this one. Our paint issue was pretty lore-heavy and very minimal paint issues. Paint guides, even. Get my brain working one day. So, moving on, we've got our build guide. So, the usual clipper and glue safety. Notes about the flying stands. So, glue it to the backpack first, holding it for a little bit longer than normal to allow it to set properly. And then glue it to the base. I don't do it that way. I glue it to the base first, then holding the sister attached to her backpack, not glued, I glue the backpack to the flight stand, and when I find it in the right position, I remove the sister and let the backpack dry. Double clip here, so clip further away from components, especially fragile ones like the purity seals. And then on to building. So we got our first battle sister here, which is our sister standing back and firing from the hip. So this time we're building it with part 38, the bear head. And an alternate way of building that model is if you have the battle sister box and haven't already built up a heavy bolter, I've used that model, but I've swapped the head and the arms out, as well as the backpack for the heavy bolter. You will have to clip off the grenades, and not the grenade on the left, but the grenade pouch on the right, as that gets in the way of the cables. But it's a pretty easy clip. I just clipped it away and flattened it off with my knife, and then the cables went along perfectly. But there we have some alternate equipment for my battle sisters. And moving on to our second battle sister, so this is the one that's advancing forward and firing. So again, we got the bear head option, but the components are the same. And conversion wise for this one, what I've done is I've given a alternate helmet from the battle sister kit, and I swapped her arms out as they are both separate components for one holding a melter gun. So again, I've got another alternate option for my unit. And I'm also going to be using these as a Dominion squad. So that was another fairly easy, no cutting at all needed on this one, but just a simple arm swap. You got a totally different miniature. Moving on to our third and final sister. So again, all the same components as previous, but this time we're using the bear head, and we've got the option of sticking a bolt pistol holster on. For this one, I did try doing an arm swap, but it is a little more in-depth. So here's the finished model. You will have to clip off the skirting around the arm here and around here, and then flatten off and smooth out the areas where they connect. And I did have to do a little bit of filling with a bit of sprue glue, but I have managed to swap out for another melter gun, and I've got a nice snarling face like she's charging forward, ready to burn a hole through a tank at close range. But that was, like I said, a little more of an in-depth conversion. I got a matching backpack there, matching the icon on her melter gun. I keep putting my hands up too high. There we go, that's better. So yeah, fleur-de-lis on the melter gun and on the backpack. But that is another sister for my Dominion squad. I need to make 2 more, which I'll use the actual Sororitas kit for. And before we move on, I will show you another conversion I've done, but not from this kit. This one is a Canoness with a holy icon, a power sword, and a Commodore bolt gun. So when I used to have an old Metal Sisters army, I had the limited edition, 3rd edition Battle Force box Canoness, which had a large holy icon in one hand and a combi flamer, which I converted in because somebody had damaged the flame a bit. I'd converted it into a Condor bolt gun using a Dark Eldar crossbow. And basically, a Condor bolt gun is a bolt gun that can fire a stake laced with a solution that will aggravate anyone with warp powers and will cause a perils for them straight off. So automatically rolling on the perils of the warp table. But other than that, it fires as a bolt gun with a nice drum-fed magazine there with the fleur-de-lis on. So she's going to be the main Canoness for my personal Sororitas army. She'll be using just the regular backpack that came with the Repentia Superior, which is the main body. All the other components are sourced from the Battle Sisters kit. You get the choice of a scabbard with or without the sword in. So you get a spare, which is cool. You also get a scabbard for a chainsword. I did have to clip and remove the helmet, but that's cleared up quite nicely. And I've managed to save the arms, the upper arms at least, and just glued components straight on to the original model. So, moving on for our build guide then, we've got our other 2 Seraphim. So again, much the same as the first time round, but the bear heads are used. And then we got how to attach them to this flying stand, so it shows with the Sister Superior for some reason. I'm guessing this is just a repeat from a previous issue. They didn't change too much. And we got our base sizes, so if you haven't already figured it out, 32mm for Battle Sisters including and the Seraphim, 28 for the Repentia, and 25 for the Archoflagellant. And then at the bottom of that page, we've got our Repentia. And on the back, we have our Archoflagellant. So he's got just his arm, 2 halves of the body, and the optional face. Like I said, I'm planning on picking up a box of these at some point. I am waiting on my box of Seraphim that should be here sometime this week, and I'm going to do a conversion to equip one of these monopose models with the either hand flamers or inferno pistols that you get in the Seraphim kit. You get 2 of each, or 4 of each, should I say, in total, two pairs. So I'm definitely going to be building up those, so I've got some options to swap out my squads a bit. And then we have our models fully built, and like I said, I will try and get some Archoflagellants and Repentia, and I will try at a later date swapping some of the arms. I might have to do some clipping and remoulding in places, but it should be easy to try and change up these models to stop them looking a little too samey. But there we have our final completed Sisters models. So moving on then, we've got our paint guide. So like I said, I will be doing a paint video later on in the week, possibly Wednesday. It'll just be a quick one, and I'll tell you what it'll be about when I get there. So for painting our models, we've got 3 coats of Abaddon Black. Picking out the inside of the robes of Khorne Red, the outside of the robes of Mephiston Red. Any screens and buttons we'll pick out with Mephiston Red as well. Any leather pouches we'll picked out with Mournfang Brown, as well as belts. Lead belcher details, so all over your bolt gun, your power pack details, the cables around their collar, and the vents on the Seraphims. Corax white on the hair, face, rocks, and any symbols, so the fleur-de-lis and the aquila there. Screamer pink on our purity seals, and Rakar flesh on the purity seal parchment. Then that is it for that. So moving on with giving Retributor armor to all our gold details. Washing our stones and parchment with Agrax Earthshade. Washing the whole model with Norn oil. Avoiding the face, so you want to do a light wash over the hair though. Then Reichen Flesh Shade, we're washing the face. The gold details, then we're highlighting the gold and silver with Stormhost Silver. The red with Wild Rider Red. The pink with Pink Horror, and this is where I will be doing things a little differently. So here we are highlighting the face with Pallid Witch Flesh, and they are saturating it with the Pallid Witch Flesh. They, instead of doing a nice highlight, they have literally just recoated. It looks like they've dry brushed it, and dry brushed it badly at that. Not their fault. I mean, they might have been told a certain way, and this is the way that it ended up. But really, you want, with Pallid Witch Flesh, you want to use little of it. So the less of it you use, the better of an effect you'll have. And if you do think it still looks a bit too white, because it will look fairly white and chalky, you can always knock it back again with a thin wash of Reichland Flesh Shade, just to reaffirm the pinkness of the skin. So we're also using Pallid Witch Flesh to highlight the stones, the parchment, and the prayer beads here. And then we're starting to pick out our Repentia and Archoflagellant. So it's 3 coats of Corax White this time. Picking out the gold, giving the entire model, so flesh and gold, a Reichland Flesh Shade wash. Picking out all the lead belcher details. Then we're picking out purity seals and the face of Screamer Pink. Here it looks like they've gone straight to Pink Horror. So it should be Screamer Pink, it should be darker than that really. But it looks like they've gone straight to Pink Horror on that. That is too bright for Screamer Pink. Picking out the bodysuit and loincloths with Abaddon Black, as well as the whips and the eyes on the hood on the Archoflagellant. Picking out all the cables and the vials on the Archoflagellant with Mephiston Red. Rakar Flesh for our parchments. Agrax Earthshade on the rocks, which are Corax White, and on the parchment. Norn oil on our red and metal. and on the pink, and highlighting silvers and golds with Stormhost Silver. So there's quite a lot on these models now to highlight, so just take your time. We didn't highlight our previous ones, so this is all going to be a fairly new step to us. We just did a light highlight, I think, to the Repentia's Chainsword, and that was it. So we didn't focus much on the Arcoflagellum at the time. Pallid Witch Flesh, again, here we're layering it all over. It might look okay on the Arcoflagellum, but really on the Repentia, you don't want to drown it in the Pallid Witch Flesh. Less is more, remember that when painting a Pallid Witch Flesh. If you don't want to layer it all over, dry brush. That will be your best bet on the larger areas like this. Using a starter brush that you've used and battered up quite a bit, just dry brush the flesh, picking up the highest edges. And if you have feel you have gone too far, like I said, give it a rewash with Reichen Flesh Shade, and that should pink it up a bit. Moving on, Pallid Witch Flesh is used for the eyes on our Arcoflagellant's head. We're using Wild Rider Red to pick out the cable and vials. Pink Horror to edge highlight the masks. You see, that is more Pink Horror, Screaming Pink there, and that is a Pink Horror, so they definitely did it wrong earlier on. We're also using Pink Horror to highlight all the scars on our Arcoflagellant before reapplying Pallid Witch Flesh. So for this, you want to make sure you thin your paint down, 3 parts water, 1 part paint. They've actually got it right this time. And apply it as a wash before you re-pick out the scars with Pallid Witch Flesh. Top tip from me, grab yourself a pot of either Druchii Violet or Caraburg Crimson. These washes are perfect for scars. Just a thin bit on your brush and just brush it over the scar area itself, and you will get a wonderful looking scar, a lot better than using the bright pink. It's a good method for the limited paints that we are actually getting, but still, I would definitely go a red or a purple to sort of show that the skin's been bruised. That would definitely work better than the pink. Screaming Pink might have been a better one to actually thin down and highlight around the scars, actually. That would have been better. So, moving on then, we got our basing. So, it's Astro Granite, non-oil, and we are dry brushing with Dawnstone, which is odd because the premium kit, we're dry brushing the bases of Corax White, and I thought that would have been how we done all the models. But apparently, we're doing Dawnstone on our Battle Sisters. Don't know what we're doing on anything else yet, as we haven't got around to getting any new paint guides for the Mechanicum yet, but we should be getting one in a near future issue. And here's our completed gallery. So you'll have your 4 Seraphim, your 6 Battle Sisters. They've accidentally printed 1 3 times here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. So there should be 2 of that one, 2 of that one, 2 of that one. But they've accidentally printed 3. And then we got our 2 different variants of Repentia and Seraphim. And you see the heads, it really does make a little bit of difference to help identify them a little better. You could always try painting a different flesh styles. Some of the pictures in the other galleries that we get will show them with dark tan skin. So we've got Bugman's Glow in the collection. Add a little bit of Mournfang brown to that, and it should darken down. Either that or Mournfang brown with a bit of Abaddon black. That would make a nice dark skinned paint if you wanted to do it that way. You could also do perhaps Steel Legion Drab for a slightly more olive complexion skin. That would be quite nice. Or even Xandri Dust if you have a Xandri Dust. But if you wanted to get some specific paints, the 2 I'd recommend are Rhinoxide, which is one of my go-tos, and Dryad Bark, which is another one of my go-tos. And a third bonus one I'd recommend is the new Katachan Flesh paint, which is a more specific dark skin tones. The other two are leathery and wood specific, really, but they can work. But that is it. So, like I said, quickly we'll go over the stratagems here. So we've got the extremist trigger word for the Arco-Flagellants, Moment of Grace for our Seraphim, I believe. Nope, any Adepta Sororitas models. So use a stratagem for after making a hit or wound roll for your Adepta Sororitas model from your army. After making a saving throw from your army, discard 1 to 2 miracle dice and add 1 to the result of each roll for each miracle dice you discarded. You cannot use this stratagem if you have no miracle dice. So you basically discard 1 or 2, and you get either a +1 or +2 to your armor, which is pretty cool. So say you've got a 3+ save, but you've lost -2 thanks to the AP of an opponent, and you roll a 3. You can, of course, discard 2 miracle dice, and those 3s become 5s. You've passed your armor. Deadly Descent, so this is for the Seraphim specifically. So it allows them to automatically shoot as soon as they come in from reinforcements, so allowing them to shoot twice, which is pretty cool. And then Defenders of the Faith, which is a brilliant stratagem and is explained over the other side. So we'll have a look here. So Defenders of the Faith, when this stratagem is activated, choose a Battle Sister squad. You ignore your normal rapid fire rules. They instead make double shots up to the maximum range. So your rapid fire 1 will fire twice, and storm bolters rapid fire 2 will fire 4 times at their full range of 24 inches. In addition to this, any time an attack is made against the chosen squad, 1 to 3 automatically fail, and the strength characteristics, and regardless of the strength of the opponent's hits. So normally the Overlord would rush in here charging. Because the sisters are within 3 inches of the objective, Defenders of the Faith activates for obviously the command points. And so the Necron Overlord would normally wound a Battle Sister on a 2, but because of Defenders of the Faith, it can only wound them on a 4. So there we have it. Well, that's pretty much everything for issue 46. 46? No, 54. I can't read. 54. There we go. That was it for 54. Like I said, I'll be back for a paint video, and then Friday's video will be the battle report. It'll be a nice fun one. I'll try to remember everything this time round. So for those of you who missed my last 2 videos, I did do a few things wrong. I forgot about certain rules, but I'm getting better. That's all we can ever do in life, is get better at the things we love. So there we have it. That was issue 54 of Imperium. If you don't already, please do subscribe. Please, if you feel I deserve it, give me a like. Also, please leave a comment down below on the things you've liked about this video and things you'd like to see in future videos. And of course, there's always my links in the description down below. I have been meaning to update, but I will put that Mad Merlin's website is currently down as I am reworking it. I'm also going to be reworking my Facebook page over the coming weeks. So if you don't already, please sign up to those. And seeing as my Instagram for some reason isn't allowing me to post recent photos, I'll be posting more pictures on my Facebook page, so do check that out in the description, of course, down below. And I will see you next time then for more mad content. Goodbye.